We've said before that as we get further into the epidemic and as this becomes a global pandemic, increasingly border control measures may become less effective because you cannot identify specific countries to impose travel restrictions. But at this stage of the epidemic, we still see very high numbers and very rapid increases in a few specific countries, especially in Europe. And we are also seeing more imported cases recently. And that's why we think there is still a need to tighten border measures, specifically country-based border measures and travel restrictions in order to limit the number of imported cases into Singapore. And that's why today, after deliberating over this for quite a while and also looking at the data and the evidence and consulting with experts, we have decided that we will impose additional travel restrictions on a few more European countries, specifically the whole of Italy, France, Spain, and Germany. Beyond these specific countries where we have imposed travel restrictions, both the previous list and the new ones that we have introduced today, we recognize that we also need more rigorous surveillance on our borders. So we will have to put in place additional measures to protect ourselves at the borders, and that's why we've highlighted today that for all incoming travelers who are symptomatic, beyond the swab test that we are already applying, we will require all of them to fulfill a 14-day stay-at-home requirement. And if they are tourists, they can stay at a hotel or they can stay at a place of residence, but they have to fulfill this 14-day requirement. The reason being that a swab test that is negative at the point of test may not be sufficient assurance because that person who is already exhibiting some symptoms, be it fever or respiratory symptoms, may be just going through the incubation stage of the virus. And so the swab test may well be negative, but you do not know whether later on the viral load may go up, and that's why we want to take extra precautions and impose this full 14-day requirement for all such visitors. So in doing this surveillance, we will pay particular attention to some of these countries where we have seen imported cases, and we will want to be quite stringent about this. All of the border measures that we have put in place are temporary measures, so we continue, and they are dynamic. As all of you know, we are constantly adjusting and updating them depending on the global situation. So whether it is travel restrictions, the NTL policy, or the additional precautions that we are taking, we will continue to review and update these measures, and there may well be changes over time because we are constantly looking at how we can minimize the number of imported cases coming into Singapore, and we will see if there are better ways of doing this.